Not a
Oh,
problem.
awesome. So we are live.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. So, yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Convince Me to Read the Book series. And today we are with Dr. Gauri Choudhary. So, please go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll start talking about your book.
All right. So, hi everyone. I'm Gauri. I'm a clinical psychologist. I practice in Pune and I'm a teacher as well of psychology. And I've written two books so far, one a book of poems and one the book that we'll be talking about, Musings of a Psychologist.
Right. So, Gauri, so you are a psychologist, and it is very pleasant to actually get on board all these authors. I see all the authors that I approach. I am very, very happy that you all agree to come on the show with me and talk. And today we are going to talk about such a heavy topic like
Yes.
mental health, right? Which
Right.
is what your book is based on. So could you like just tell us the right way to approach your book? Like, what should be the mindset to approach your
So the idea behind writing the book was that whenever, in the past, I have talked about my profession, people only talk about mental illnesses. Nobody talks about mental health. So this book was about, everyday conversations, everyday life incidences, which have an impact on our mental health, and we ignore it. We just, put it on the carpet and not realize that it is impacting our life in a big way. And then if we can work preventively, we can do so much in the field of mental health and improve the quality of our life. If we just not equate mental health with mental illness and psychologists with mental illness, we could do so much in life.
So it's as you said, just a normal person going on with their day does
Yes,
not have any idea that what mental health and mental illness are separate
true.
or what they are even. So
Yes.
anyone would just be aware of these things when they start reading the book.
Yes, yes, and so it's 61 short chapters about 2 pages or so, and I can guarantee you that when you go through those 61 chapters, at least there'll be three or four incidences that you connect with, that tells you, okay, this is something that has happened to me before, or this is something that I think about. So these are really everyday things, like somebody passing a comment about your weight, somebody making fun of the way you dress up. These are small incidences which we just push aside and not acknowledge, and then it bothers us later at some point of time.
So that is true. We all face such incidents
Yes.
on a daily basis, and not just online, offline. We do it online as well. So
Right.
the society today is very different than what it used to be. So,
Right.
like, what was your inspiration on writing this book? As you said, you wanted to create an
Yeah.
awareness between the differences, but as
Yes.
well some incident that you would want to
So,
recollect.
when in a clinical practice you come across a lot of people and you talk to them and you realize that, if they had dealt with these small incidences before, we wouldn't have been here, and we wouldn't have been, they wouldn't have had to face the anxiety or depression that they are going through if, they had acknowledged something like this. So, some of these experiences are something that I have experienced myself in my life, or I have heard of it from someone. They are experiences which my clients would have told me. And these are small, very small incidences that occur to us in everyday life. And I felt that somebody should talk about it. Usually when we talk about mental health, people just say, ki, ignore karo, you move ahead, you are strong, you are weak, or all those things. But somebody should acknowledge mental health, and somebody should talk about these small incidences. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I gave you the example, where you talk about, somebody makes fun of your weight, and we just tell them that, forget about it, move ahead. But it has hurt that person, and somebody needs to acknowledge it and make them feel that, okay, somebody is understanding you, somebody is there out there to empathize with you. So these are small instances like that.
As you said, weight, yeah, I can relate to that. And not only, gaining weight, losing weight as well.
Yes.
When you are
Hmm.
Body appearances can be very impactful, and
Yes.
people just say these things and they don't even realize that. So
Correct.
how do you think, how can you say that these words that affect us so much
Hmm.
are is like, how is it going to help that these words you will get over it, or is it something like that, or it's just a helping hand, or what would it be like?
I think it would more be like, accepting that this has hurt me.
Yeah.
Only when you accept something will you work on it and work on reducing. And healing can happen only with acceptance. So if you just say, most of us want to pretend, ki, nahi, nahi, this doesn't affect me, but it does. And accept it and work on it. And it will heal on its own. But I think if you accept it, it heals faster.
That is very true. That you have to first know that, yeah, there are these things are hurting me, and then you can
Yes.
start getting help or anything like that, right?
Right.
So that is really awesome. All the things that you just mentioned. So also, what was it like writing these books? Like you said, you have been inspired by your previous clients and all, but actually getting the words out, how
Right.
was it?
So initially it was difficult because I actually never started writing with the idea of publishing a book. It was just something that, coming back after the day I would feel, and some topic somewhere, how it hits you and then it stays on with you. And I would just put it down on paper. I mean, I would just write about what I felt, and then it took form of small articles, and then I started writing it as a form of a blog, just a WordPress blog. And then few of my friends who had read it, and they said that these are impactful words, they should have a wider audience, and you could create awareness among people with this. So that's when the idea of a book came in. But initially I think I started writing because these were some topics that really touched my heart, hit my heart that way.
So, it's a very basic thing that you need to get done sometimes, like just
Yes.
talk about it. And not
Yes.
many people understand it, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how are you going to like make people after, suppose I have read
Hmm.
your book and
Hmm.
what will I feel like? How am I going to get out there and just accept these things?
Right. So I
Um,
think one of the biggest factors is when you read about it, right? One is you realize that it happens to a lot more people than just me. And it's not just me who's feeling bad about it. Okay. Two, once you read about it, there are certain suggestions of how you could, not exactly handle it, but make it, something that is acceptable to you, or how you could possibly work on, or even make you realize that this is something that needs to be worked upon, right? So I'll give you an example. There's a chapter in the book called Too Much of a Good Thing. So where, whether it is exercise, whether it is a diet, nutrition, sometimes we tend to overdo the good part also, and that also can be harmful. So once you realize these things, you can alter your life. It is not very difficult to alter life choices, but somebody has to make you aware of them.
it's, yeah, that is very, yes, I can totally agree to that. Like in day-to-day lives, as you said, right? This
Hmm.
point you said, yes, these things happen, and
Yes.
to talk about that. So, what is like what exactly is mental health in your words? Like the way you have put it in the book and your psychologist. All
uh, I think mental health is just about giving equal importance to your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors, the way we do to our physical health. Like, today's youth, they go to the gym, they follow a diet, they take care of their physical health, but we don't accept our emotions. There's a chapter in the book which talks about the importance of negative emotions, that how they are necessary and a part of life. So, expressing your emotions, talking about your thoughts, uh, trying to change certain behaviors. When you look at mental health, you cannot separate mental health and physical health. They are not two different things. That is one single entity. And talking about your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings is as important as going regularly to exercise. If I can convince 10 people that that is necessary, then I think I've achieved what I wanted.
Okay. Yeah. I even I wouldn't like not many people know that these things, like as you said, having
Hmm.
emotions and
Hmm.
accepting those emotions, knowing
Yes.
that yeah, it is the
Hmm.
same as physical health
Hmm.
and all. It's
Hmm.
very uncommon. And
Yes.
yeah, like really, this should be made aware. And I
Yes.
am very like I'm getting all into my head. Like, okay, how is this happening? How is that happening? Like, is it as even just as you mentioned how emotions impact and how all these
Yes.
things impact mental health. So I'm just starting to think that are really the daily activities that I do. How are
Hmm.
they impacting my mental health and all of that? So
Yes.
that is what you wanted to show from
Yes.
your book. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
is there anything, any one thing that you, or not one, just
Hmm.
some things
Hmm.
that you can say that okay, these things are
Hmm.
there and they impact your mental health, and this
Hmm.
book will mention
Hmm.
some of those or something like
Right. Right. I think the most common thing that I have seen is the pressure that we create on ourselves to be a certain way, whether it is a body type, whether it is, of how achievement is important, or maybe by this age I want this. So these are small things, which all of us do. But when I say that by, let's say, by the age of 50 I want to have traveled the world, I am setting a target to myself, in which process I'm not enjoying the journey, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, but I'm just focusing on the target. Or where, I am so focused that I should not have any negative emotions. I, try to suppress when I feel anger, when I feel sadness, I force myself to feel happy. That's unhealthy, right? Or whether it is, the haves and shoulds of our life, that I have to do this, I should be able to do this. Sometimes how we've turned hobbies into something that is making us anxious. So if I want to paint, I'm not painting because I like it, I'm painting because it should impress other people. If I put it on Facebook, I should get certain number of likes. So that's all actually causing anxiety. So what we have done is we've taken away pleasure from our life. I just want people to get back the sense of pleasure and accept yourself as a whole human being, with the good, bad, the ugly, whether emotions or behavior.
true. So, yeah, that is very, very true. And as you said about goals, like
Hmm.
when I by the time I'm 50, I want to do this. And
Hmm.
yeah, they are all nice and stuff, but unless and until you're actually enjoying the process, you're not
Yes.
going to be happy reaching there and actually
Yeah.
going all
Right.
the world,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, there are lots of such things, and as you mentioned. So
Hmm.
what was like, okay, uh, sorry,
No
I'm a
problem.
little coffee. Yeah. So, if I mention these things to you,
Hmm.
or if I read
Hmm.
this book and mention these things to someone, there are
Hmm.
still people out there who wouldn't
Hmm.
suppose I'm mentioning these things, like, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
not everyone would understand. So how
No.
to cope with that? How to deal with people not getting your point or something like
I think the biggest thing that I have learned through my profession or through the interactions is I don't have to convince people. If I keep talking, if I keep doing my bit, people will get convinced. And sometimes just stopping to convince and letting them come to their own conclusions helps the most. So, there are still a lot of people who will tell me that, psychology is nothing, it's why should I go to a therapist, what is a something new they will tell me, I already know everything. And I don't spend my time convincing those people, because I think that if you keep speaking and keep understanding and spreading awareness, eventually people will understand. Of course there will always be people who will not understand, but I think we should focus on the people we could convince rather than focus on people we couldn't.
that. So there will always be people who would,
Yes.
yeah, and to deal with them is just not to deal with them. Something
Yes.
like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, that is very tough to actually, but easier said than done things,
Of
right?
course. Of
And
course. Yes.
Yeah, the book Musings of a Psychologist.
Hmm.
So the name is very interesting. Could you
Yeah.
also tell me a little bit more about where it came from and all of
Right. So, a lot of people ask me that, being a psychologist, does it make you look at things differently from a different perspective? And that's when the title came that, sitting on the opposite side, like, when I'm sitting across a client, what are my thoughts when he's sharing? And, if you've looked at the cover, it shows the therapist with multiple of thoughts who's trying to make sense of what is being shared with them and what is their understanding of the sharing of the client's history. So it is just my thoughts of things that I have come across and how I view them or what is my perspective on them, based of course on my understanding of psychology.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit under the
No.
weather. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's very, very important, as you said,
Yes.
to know all these things. And
Hmm.
as you came up with the name, because it's all your thoughts and all stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, how do you expect someone to
Hmm.
actually like just as me talking to you
Hmm.
as an
Hmm.
author, how do you
Yes.
expect people to
Hmm.
go ahead and
Hmm.
get all like what time span do you think it would take them to
Hmm.
accept all these things and to just go ahead with their lives and get better day by day?
I think it's a process. I
Hmm.
think every single day we learn something new. And I have always felt, that something that I have read somewhere long back and suddenly it starts making sense today. It may not have made sense back then. Even a simple story, a fiction story, takes a very different meaning when I'm looking at something today. So I think what this book would do is plant that seed of awareness. And as you go through life, as you deal with life, maybe that seed will take take a, that seed will flower because of some situation that you've come across. But discovering yourself, acknowledging your mental health, I think it's a lifetime process. It never stops. We always keep discovering ourselves.
So, do you also agree that on like as you said, it's a lifetime process. At
Hmm.
every age, you
Hmm.
you can learn new things, and
Yes.
all those things affect
Hmm.
mental health.
Yes, yes. I think at every age we learn new things, and at a given age we learn new things from people of every age. So today when I look at a child, I'm learning so much from that child. Today when I'm looking at maybe somebody who's in their early 20s, I'm learning something from them as well. So we keep learning at every single age, and we should learn at every single age. We can't reach an age where we say that now I know everything about myself. I don't think we will ever reach that stage.
So, what if something like something comes up
Hmm.
where something is questioning everything that you know at
Hmm.
the moment? How
Hmm.
is it going to affect you, and how to cope with that?
I think that happens a lot of times where you've somewhere you feel that you've made sense of life, and then life drops a
Yeah.
bomb and you're like, okay, whatever I knew is turned topsy turvy. But I think if you give yourself time and space, human brain is amazing. It will make new sense of everything. It's just that we are in a hurry, the hustle culture, that it should make sense to me right now. It will not make sense to you. Maybe you can sit down, think about it at a calmer stage, and it will all come back to you. I really believe that as human beings we have amazing potential to rediscover ourselves. It's just that we don't give ourselves time to do that. Right. I think
Yes.
COVID taught us that, right? That the way we knew the world turned topsy turvy, but we made sense of it all that, and it gave rise to new normal. You and I wouldn't have been doing online sessions if it was not COVID who made it so um,
Exactly. Yeah.
common. Yeah.
Yeah. Rediscovering and
Yes.
so that was a lot actually. See, as I said, saying these
Hmm.
things is
Hmm.
easier to actually
Yes.
imply all of them.
Yes.
So yeah, it's okay to take all the time that you need
Yes.
and just
Yes.
process, read
Hmm.
more, learn more, whatever age you are on. It is going
Correct.
to help in one way or another. And
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're agreeing with me because it's I know these things because I have also been practicing a lot of these things. I have
Hmm.
went through a lot of these things myself,
Hmm. Right.
being
Hmm.
being a girl and all of that.
Hmm.
So these things affect
Right.
you. You don't even know them, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, if there is even just one thing that
Hmm.
would help you get over
Hmm.
it in one way or
Hmm.
another, I would grab onto it. So
Yes.
yeah, I am completely convinced that I am going to get my copy of Musings of a Psychologist. And yeah, I would really, really tell everyone out there to just go get a copy because you have no idea how difficult it is to go through things alone. And
Yes.
if you're doing that, you should really appreciate yourself for
Of
doing that.
course.
And
Yes.
yeah, Musings of Psychologist is going to be a helping hand, a friend to just pass the time and on your journey to self-awareness and all of those things. If
Yes.
I put it correctly, if there is anything that you want to,
No, I think you put it brilliantly that, all of us need a helping hand, and musings of a psychologist is just that, somebody holding your hand. Uh, and you have to find out your own way, but there's somebody holding your hand.
exactly. It's very hard actually to just accept that you have to find your own way because a lot of times we are just looking at people or things to get us out of something
Yes.
and we are
Yes.
just finding ways to run away, but
Yes.
it's not actually running away, but you have
Yes.
to just sit with yourself and know
Hmm.
that okay, these things are
Yes.
affecting me and this is how I'm going to get right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very insightful. It was really, really nice talking to you, Gauri, and
Thank,
I am so happy that you came on here and
thank
talked about your book because I myself know that
you.
not like just a few people have an
Hmm.
understanding that mental health is
Yes.
a thing. Now it
Yes.
is getting
Yes.
awareness and now it is
Yes.
spreading, but
Hmm.
the initial the momentum it's not
Yes.
yet there.
Right.
So yeah, thank you so much for creating it. Thank you so much for having written musings of a psychologist and just getting people to know that there is something like so yeah, that was a lot. I think I talked a lot. And
No.
I hope that you did you enjoyed this session as well
Yes.
with me.
Very much.
So, by the end of the our convince way to read the book series, we
Hmm.
asked the authors a question. Like
Okay.
we asked the authors to ask
Hmm.
me a question. So the
Okay.
question is, the cafe bulls
Hmm.
have a journal called My Little Book of Affirmation. So
Okay.
here is the My Little Book of Affirmation, and
Okay.
you now, you could get to ask me a question about this book that would
Hmm.
convince you to read this journal.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So let me ask you that, um, on a very bad day, how would you write a positive affirmation about yourself?
on a very bad day, how would I write? Okay, so actually, this journal contains some affirmations that are going to get you like ready for the day, or maybe just get you into the right mindset when you are feeling low. But
Okay.
on a very bad day,
Hmm.
I would suggest, or I would say that this journal has
Hmm.
habit practices and gratitude tracking and all of that. So
Okay.
when you're writing these things
Hmm.
in the journal, you can look back at and it is like your own personal treasure, uh,
Yes.
your own thoughts, your own words, because there are always days when you are feeling high, when
Hmm.
you're feeling good, and you'll be mentioning those things when you are in the gratitude, right?
Right.
And
Right.
when you're feeling low, you can look back at them, you can create your own healing process in
Hmm.
that way,
Hmm.
similar to that. So this is how I have designed the journal, and this is how it is like. So on bad days you can reflect, on good days you can just be very content and just write everything down. And it's not like good days and bad days are will be there forever. So it's also like a reminder that
Hmm.
whatever is happening is you are in a constant state. You
Hmm.
are just uh, your inner self is here. So be present and take yourself with it. Something like
Great. I'm so glad you are doing that.
that. Yeah, it is also my way of like just getting this thing out there that okay, self care is the thing, self awareness
Very good.
is the thing.
Yes.
And I was actually so happy to get in touch with you and talk about this because Musings of a Psychologist, as I said, the name inspired me and really, wow,
Right.
okay, what could this be? So that is how, yeah, that is how I talk to you and all of that. So it was very pleasant. Would you also like to say something? Just leave us with an end note about, okay, a
Hmm.
certain something in this book is going to help you in some
Hmm.
way or another. Just one more
I
point here.
think it will just, it put it simply, it will make you realize that you are worth everything, and
Mm.
what you are worth, nobody else will appreciate unless you appreciate it yourself. So your needing to prove yourself begins with accepting yourself. I think that is what the book will teach you.
That is the most important thing at the end of
Yes.
the day because you are
Yes.
alone with your own thoughts and all of that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. It was really impactful, Gauri. It was very nice talking to you,
Thank you.
and definitely I'm going to grab my copy of Musings of Psychologist.
Thank you. Thank you
And
so
yeah,
much.
everyone, you can find the copy of link to the Amazon Musings of Psychologist in the description box below, and you can also go ahead and thank Gauri for such a nice, amazing book on her Instagram page. So it's like Gauri slash her name. So please support and please just leave some comments below so that we can know that really it's nice to know that these things are working. And if there's anything that you would like to ask Gauri, you can also leave in the comments and
Yes.
we'll get in touch with her and we'll take her reply from there. So yeah, this was our series Convince Me to Read the Book. I hope you enjoyed it, and as you said, you
Yes.
also have written other books.
Hmm.
So maybe in future, if you write more such books, you're
Yes.
always welcome to come on here and we'll talk
Thank
a
you
lot of
so
other
much.
things. So today
Yes.
I was a little bad at health. So
No,
I
but I
hope
think you
there
were
were
brilliant.
no bad questions or nothing offensive.
Not at all.
Okay, okay, awesome. So yeah, thank you so much. And we'll be looking forward to having you with us again someday. And yeah, that is it. Go grab the copy of Musing of a Psychologist.
Yes. You take
Okay, okay.
care and get well soon.
Yes, yes, definitely. Okay,
Yes.
bye everyone. It was very
Bye.
fun talking to you guys. See ya.
Bye.
See you
See
in the
you.
next live.
Yes. Bye.